dedicated time in the Word and praying and really getting a vision for this year. I think that's a first starting point. And then the secondary points we're going to talk about today are very, 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 very helpful for quantifying or qualifying how you get things done or what to get done. So again, this does not replace the ministry aspect of what you're called and taking that time to pray and fast. This is not a shortcut. In fact, this also requires quite a bit of work to do anyway. So getting started, if you've spent any time in the business world, in marketing or operations, you might know some of these terms already. So if we're in the business world and we talk about an NPS score, that stands for Net Promoter Score. So what that survey does is, you've seen it if you've used a product, it says 1 through 10, how likely are you to refer a friend to use this product? The net promoter is whatever the net score of that is. So if one person says, yep, I would definitely recommend this, and then 2 people say, nope, I wouldn't recommend this, then the net score is -1 for that. This is really helpful for product-based companies or service-based or software to know what's the overall sentiment of the company or product that they are offering. Another one is VOC, Voice of Customer. And this is another survey that you've probably seen, you know, those pop-ups or emails that come through. And that's typically a survey that's 1 through 5 or 1 through 7. And this one identifies what the customer need is. So this will typically ask, how easy is the product to use? Or what was your experience like? And this one, again, gets this overall sentiment of the voice of customer. So what is the customer experiencing and what can we build upon that? So if they give a negative score, usually ask for an open-ended text where they can enter in, here's my frustrations with the product. Or if they give a great score, it might ask, hey, what did you love about it? And here you can share what you loved about it. Now, what's awesome about this is this can get applied to pretty much any industry, and in our world, which is in church, how can we apply surveys to then get the most out of our people and for our people to get the most out of the church service? And again, I need to emphasize, this does not replace church ministry. This is not to create a seeker friendly service, but this is to enhance the experience and understand where your people at, which is all of what pastoral care is about anyways, is understanding where your people are at. And the more people you have, the harder and harder it gets tracked. So this is just another way of allowing a touch point for your people. So here's a couple of surveys that I recommend moving into 2024 or anytime you have a new change or service or whatever else. This is a great one. So the first one, pretty basic. The frequency is do this once a year. And this is an annual congregation survey. You can send this out via email. You can create a web page that has like a Google survey on it. Just fill out one of those Google forms, ask a few questions like, what do you want to see in 2024? What ministry are you most excited about? What would you like to be a part of? Questions like that. Keep it simple. I wouldn't do more than maybe 5 questions. And I would also make these multiple choice with very few open text. The reason for that is because we want people to complete these surveys. And so if you have 10 questions that are all open text, meaning that the person taking the survey has to write in an answer every time, then it's just going to get cumbersome and they're going to drop off. That's what we call it when somebody opens the survey, but then doesn't complete it. That's a drop off. And that's not useful because they didn't complete the survey. So really take the time to develop the survey and have a few options there. So again, if you're doing this solo or if you're doing with this a board, figure out what you want to do in the next year, where you can actually allocate resources and time, and then have a few options. Put this in the survey, send it out on post it on a web page, send it out through text, email, Instagram, everywhere. Make sure you blast it to everybody that is an actual member of your congregant. You don't want irrelevant data from some random person on the internet. What this is going to do is it's going to give you actual data so you can make decisions that are informed. And it's also going to get buy-in from your congregation. So now they feel like they had a say in what the church is going to achieve in 2024. So this achieves a lot in just a very simple way. People feel involved, they feel heard, And you actually have data that you can move on, and you can go back to the team, your board, whoever the decision makers are, and you can say, hey, we had X amount of people fill out this form, and this is the actionable steps we want to go from here. You should aim for 100%, but I would be satisfied with anything above probably 80% is kind of your benchmark. Not everybody's going to fill out the form. So that's the first one I would recommend, an annual congregational survey. And this just gets a blast out to everybody. The next thing is visitor or new member survey. So when people are coming to your church, I highly, highly recommend having some sort of text option. So for instance, for a lot of the churches we help set up using Tithely, we use their keyword feature, which is a drip campaign. And you can have a new person walk into the doors and see a sign or screen or whatever that says text hello to this number. When that visitor texts that number, they immediately get some information about the church. Then there's a follow-up text that happens automatically 2 or 3 days later, another follow-up text a week later, and then it kind of drops off from there. Hopefully that person has gotten plugged in to the church. You could add to that drip campaign by adding a survey that comes out in 2 or 3 months. You could have it that far out that says, hey, what was your experience like? Or even sooner, you could have it within the first week. You say, hey, what was your experience like? Could you just rate it 1 to 10? Text us back a number. And then you can go back and have a look and see what people are experiencing when they come to your church. Are they having a positive first experience, a negative first experience? And then you can ask follow-up questions. So I would ask 1 through 10, what was your experience, or 1 through 5, and then have open-ended where they can add and provide feedback. This really helps you understand what people are experiencing for the first time. I know for me and every leader, the longer you're in church, the more, for lack of a better word, desensitized you become to the weird things that the church does, as well as the things that we're just missing. Recently, my wife and I, when we got married, we started going to a new church, and that whole experience of quote unquote church shopping, which I hate that term, but church shopping, we're trying to find a community that we fit into and that we belong to. And we went to a lot of churches, and there was a lot of things I wish I could probably provide feedback on. One, because that's what I do here, but two, because it helps other new people who are coming into the church who might not know the Lord. It enhances that experience, and everything we do is to bring people to Christ. So if we can learn more from our new people and visitors, then we can again take actionable steps to make that a better experience for everybody. A couple other surveys you could run periodically is worship experience surveys, ministry or program feedback. So once during summer, when kind of Sunday school wraps up, or however your church does it, have surveys whenever you finish something. So if you do a 6-week Bible study, have a survey. If you have a graduation for kids, have a survey. Anytime we can gather information that is actionable, that is relevant, that's going to help us serve our community better, I highly recommend it. There's obviously, you shouldn't go into survey fatigue. Do it at a normal cadence, maybe only one every quarter, or like per person. So you don't want to flood your people with too much feedback. But again, some of the great ways surveys help is it creates buy-in. It gives you actual data to take new steps on, and it really affirms either what you believe, or it lets you know that, hey, what you thought was the best step maybe isn't the right step for now, and you can save it for later. So that is my recommendation as we walk into 2024. So check out these surveys. If you have any more questions about us, you can message us on Instagram. You can email us at hey@heychurch.co. And if you have any questions about how Hey Church can help you set up these surveys, communicate, and help build community, we're here to fill the gaps of your ministry. We help with admin work, creative work, communication work, anything you need to make your ministry successful, we're here to provide it. So reach out to Hey Church at heychurch.co. We're here to help out, and have a happy new year, and we'll see you next.